Welcome to the Expert Agents Realty Hour on Full Service Radio, 830 WCRN. Now, here's your host, Mark Toomey.
Well, good morning and welcome to the Expert Agents Realty Hour. I am, in fact, your host, Mark Toomey. Thank you for joining us this morning. I hope you're living every day with enthusiasm. I always try to. So we're a real estate show focused on providing important information and insight into the local real estate market. We're live on the air here at the fabulous WCRN 830 AM studios. And if you'd like to call in, 508-871-7000 is our number. 508-871-7000 is our number. We have a great show for you lined up today. I hope to get everything in I want to get in. Some of the things we're going to talk about today is our Expert Agents Realty feature property of the week. Also have our weekly trivia question, and I have one specially tailored for today's guest. At 10:15, we'll have the Guaranteed Rate Report with Matt Packard to get the latest on mortgage interest rates. And we're going to review the current real estate market conditions, and I'm going to give you a couple sales numbers that I think you'll find astonishing. But first, I'd like to welcome into the studio Craig Leader of Leader Foundation Solutions. Hi, Craig. How are you?
Good. How you doing today, Mark?
Good, good. Thanks for coming in today on this holiday, Monday holiday.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
So, Craig, Leader Foundation Solutions, basement issues, basically. What can you tell us about your company?
So we're kind of a niche contractor. We deal only with basement foundation, crawl space type issues. So we don't do anything above the sill plate. So we can waterproof your basement. We can encapsulate a dirt crawl space. We lift buildings that have settled and sunk. We straighten foundation walls, and we lift concrete slabs with a state-of-the-art foam system.
Really? Wow, yeah. I haven't seen that.
Yeah, it's all over the internet. So, we've been doing that for 6 or 7 years now. So we were one of the first companies to bring it out to the East Coast.
So we didn't talk about this, but in 1960, my father bought a home in Stoneham, Massachusetts, and moved us from Malden to Stoneham. And it was a slab ranch built on filled land. And within a year, the house, one side sank dramatically. It was almost a 10-inch pitch from the middle of the house to the side. And we don't live there. The family doesn't own that anymore, but that builder at that time tried to correct it, and he couldn't. And that home, every time I drive by it, which isn't very often, I get a kick out of it. It's just a dramatic pitch to the right. And I actually didn't know that you could level it with, like you just described. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, we do it. We do it on a regular basis. So we're doing one in Plymouth this week. We have one in Milford next week. So yeah, whether it's a slab or whether it's a full foundation, we can lift it and get it back into place.
So can you, by the way, just so I don't forget, how do people reach your company?
You can find us online at leaderfsi.com, and you can call our office at 888-320-6363. So, okay. And before I get into the next thing, every week, Greg, I have a trivia question, and sometimes I try to gear it towards a guest. So I'm wondering, I don't know whether you'll know this answer or not, but I typically give the answer towards the end of the show. So for the folks out there, here's this week's trivia question. Most people are familiar with the term French drain to help solve some basement water issues. Why is it called a French drain? That's the trivia question. So, Greg, I don't know if you know that answer. I've heard stories. I'm not sure if they're correct.
So, all right. So can you tell us a little bit about the company, how you started, where you're located?
Sure. We're located in Sterling, Mass. And our work area is basically from Boston to the Berkshires, Vermont, New Hampshire, all the way down to Newport and the Cape and Islands. I started the company 16 years ago after working for another contractor who was doing the same thing but decided to go in a different direction. And the manufacturer of our products has an exclusive with their dealers, and they had asked me to take over for what he was doing. So we started the company in
my basement in Rutland, Mass, and we've been in Sterling now for 14 years.
Somehow it seems appropriate you started the foundation company in your basement.
Right. It seemed to work pretty well. Yeah. That was the first house I waterproofed.
So the reason that I invited Craig in is that obviously, if you listen to the show on a regular basis, I try to bring experts in different fields on to the show because that's what listeners like to hear from. And I got a personal referral for somebody who used your company to solve a pretty significant problem that she had, and she's like, "Wow, you should really, talk to Craig, and he'd probably be a great guest." And on top of that, and maybe more importantly, a great problem solver for people out there that have water basement issues, which obviously, I don't know what the percentage of homes is, but it's a huge percentage of homes.
Yeah, there's a lot in this area, and the lifting of buildings really hasn't been as prominent in this part of the country, but it's becoming more and more prominent because of the more and more homes that were built on fill, bad fill, poorly compacted soils, and things like that.
Right, the home I grew up in, I think.
Yeah.
So can you give maybe a quick overview of your company's philosophy and how you look at your industry?
Sure. The waterproofing industry for many years has had a bad reputation as, people just coming in and charging you exorbitant amounts of money, and then if there's a problem, not being there for you. Our philosophy is to do what our customers want and need, using the best materials possible, with the best warranties, and giving them the best service. And we find by doing it that way, we have 99% happy customers.
So, and I'm sure you get referred a lot from past clients to new people.
We do.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's interesting, like in my world, real estate, when we're representing buyers, I always say, well, we're in the business of selling homes, and obviously that's no surprise. That's what we do. And we want to sell you a good home, but we don't want to just sell you a home. We want to sell you the right home. And sometimes that can take months or years to find the right property. But we feel like when we advise somebody to buy the right property, in the end, they've got the right house at the right price. And that's how we get referral business. Personally, I'm not interested in a quick dollar on any transaction. It's about the long-term relationships. And I know from some of the information that you had provided in advance of us meeting, we've never met before this show, integrity is important to you.
Yeah, I think that's probably the most critical thing for us is, whenever we do work in someone's house, it's not a one and done sort of thing. I mean, mechanical devices need servicing. People always have questions, and most of our work is covered by either a 25-year or a life of structure transferable warranty.
Wow.
So, we're in it for the long haul, and we have no intentions of going anywhere or doing anything different.
So that's great to hear. So in the next episode, because we're coming closer to the end of this one, I do want to talk about some specific issues that you run into and some of the solutions out there. And maybe there's some folks out there that'll say, yeah, that sounds similar to mine. And maybe that'll give them an idea of maybe how they should proceed, how they should be thinking about things. And as I say that, can you give your contact information again?
Sure. Our website is leaderfsi.com, and our phone number is 888-320-6363.
So, okay. And this is the Expert Agents Realty Hour. My name is Mark Toomey, obviously the host. And my company, you can reach us anytime, 508-393-3383, unless I'm on the air, and then I can't answer the phone. But I pride myself on answering the phone all the time. So, and if you want to call into the show, 508-871-7000 if you have any questions or comments for Craig. So, all right. So, in terms of territories that you cover, you mentioned a little bit, but where's the extent of where you go? And do you go outside of Massachusetts?
So we, as far as waterproofing crawl space, we're pretty much concentrated from Metro West out to the Berkshires, and we just do that work in Massachusetts. As far as structural and concrete work, we work all the way from Boston out to the Berkshires. We don't do the North Shore of Mass, and we also do all of Rhode Island and southern Mass.
So can you explain the nuanced difference between those two?
Sure. You know, so the crawl space in the basement business is from a manufacturer who has other dealers who use the Boston territory. The structural business, I'm the only one in the area who does it. So
Okay. All right. So we're going to, I'm told, I'm getting signals we have to break for the end of the first section. So this is the Expert Agents Realty Hour, and we'll see you in the second segment. Thank you.
This has been the Expert Agents Realty Hour on Full Service Radio, 830 WCRN. You're listening to the Expert Agents Realty Hour on Full Service Radio, 830 WCRN. Once again, here's your host, Mark Toomey.
Well, welcome back to the Expert Agents Realty Hour. I am, in fact, your host, Mark Toomey, and you can call in if you'd like, 508-871-7000. That's our on-air number. And I'd like to welcome into the show now from Guaranteed Rate with the Guaranteed Rate Report, Matt Packett. Hi, Matt. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Mark. How you doing, bud?
Good. So, Matt, we have Craig Leader here from Leader Foundation Solutions in studio, if you want to say hi.
Craig, how you doing? I was listening a little bit on. Seems like some good stuff.
Yeah.
Good knowledge there.
Oh,
yeah, absolutely.
Thanks. So, Matt, full disclosure, everybody, including Craig, Matt's on vacation, but nice enough to call in on vacation, so his wife is probably staring at him right now, wondering what you're doing. Is that the case, Craig? Matt?
Wife and all three kids all staring at me. Yes, it's correct, Mark.
So we appreciate, I know there was a little bit of a move on interest rates, and I appreciate you updating the folks, so we'll be quick. But what can you tell us about interest rates?
Yeah, it was actually a great week for interest rates for buyers out there and for people looking to refinance. The 30-year fixed rate average rate dropped down to 2.99.
Wow.
So it's where we thought rates were going to be slightly increasing the rest of the year. It's what most experts were saying. After the increases in February, they actually came back down, and a 15-year fix is all the way down to 2 3/8. That's 2.375. So, yeah, great news for people out there buying and for people looking to refinance.
Wow. Well, so that is great news, and that's interesting. And hovering somewhere around 3 or in the threes, and there's 2.99. This is just amazing, and it's just going to keep this hot real estate market fueled, I think, for months.
Yeah, I agree. And it seems like the big difference where rates had been slightly increasing there for a steady few weeks earlier this year. I think the big difference is it seems like inflation fears, which is what was a big reason why the interest rate increases were happening. Inflation fears have kind of leveled off. It seems like the bond market is stabilized, and the general people that are investing out there in the market feel like inflation is not going to be a concern here in the near-term future, and that has got rates back going in the right direction for us.
I think inflation is coming at some point with all this, the federal spending, but that seems to be a ways off. And in the immediate market, this year, it just seems like that's not going to happen. So that's great. So I won't hold you up, Matt. I appreciate it. But can you tell folks how they reach you if they want to refinance or apply for financing or just get a competitive quote?
Absolutely, and they can call while I'm on vacation because I do have a team of people that I can just have them talk to while I'm away, and I'm coming back the next day or two. My number is 508-769-4695. Again, that's 508-769-4695 by cell or text. And then my email is matt.packard@rate.com, matt.packard@rate.com.
Well, I will say that I highly endorse Matt, and if you're out there thinking you need some information, don't feel bad if you interrupt his vacation because Matt's like all the rest of us in this business. We're actually never on vacation, and I know Matt will take your call because he takes mine when he's on vacation. So, Matt, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll talk to you next week with the Guaranteed Rate Report at 10:15 a.m.
Sounds good. Have a great week, guys.
All right, thank you. Bye.
Yep.
So, Craig, before we were going to get into some specifics on foundation issues that you deal with and maybe some things that folks out there are running into now and didn't know there were solutions for. I want to just give the trivia question again, which I'll give the answer later in the show. And here's the trivia question. Most people are familiar with the term French drain to help solve some basement water issues. Why is it called a French drain? So, and I'll give you that answer later. So, all right, Craig. So issues that you run into and some of the solutions, there's different, obviously in New England, we have a lot of fieldstone foundations, older homes, and we have newer foundations too that have some water issues. What are some of the common problems you run into and then some of the solutions?
Sure. Well, so, as far as fieldstone foundations, most of the issues we run into with that are with seepage of water coming through them. Not too much structural for those issues. A lot of dampness in those basements. And we have equipment that we can install in people's houses that'll take care of the moisture. We can block off the dampness and take care of those things.
Can I interject right there? So if you have a home out there and you have a fieldstone foundation, and I like to say to a lot of buyers, that foundation has been there for 150 years. They actually did a great job putting it there. It's never moving, and rarely do you see the walls pushing in or anything. But water is going to seep through. It just is what it is. But dampness in a basement, in particular if you're thinking of selling the house in the future, you have moisture means mold, means attraction of termites, lots of things like that. It's important to deal with it, and it is. You can basically make it. It's a correctable situation, and there are a lot of specifics, right, that you could deal with a fieldstone foundation. But you'd have to get in and look at it to give them the specific solution for their house.
That's correct. We have a team in our office and a few design specialists who can come out, take a look at your home. Our approach is really to talk more to the points of what's an issue to you and how we can help you solve that. You can call the office at 888-320-6363. You can schedule for someone to come out. We generally will send you out a copy of one of our books and give you some education on what the issues are and how we can help you.
Is there a charge for you to come out and give them an estimate to
We don't charge homeowners to come out and inspect their homes. We do have a small fee for people who are looking to buy properties who need a structural inspection, but even the charge for that is refundable if they move forward later and do the work.
And I think that's important because when a home inspector is inspecting a home, there are different things that come up, and one of the default positions of most home inspectors, and I think rightfully so, is because they have limited knowledge in different areas, is they'll say with foundations, consult a structural engineer, consult a professional on how to deal with this issue. And that's where your company could get called in. With a buyer needs to be sure before they make their offer or sign their purchase and sale on a property. So that's nice to know that you provide that service. And
yep. We're not structural engineers, but we're the guys that the structural engineers refer to resolve the issue after they've designed a solution. So for us to come out and take a look at something, we have enough knowledge, certainly, to be able to determine if there's an issue and if it is going to be determined that you need to have a structural engineer come out and look at it.
Okay, thank you for clarifying. And so we're already at the end of the second segment. That's because Matt talked too long. I'm going to blame Matt. So so this is the Expert Agents Realty Hour, and I am Mark Toomey. We're here with Craig Leader of Leader Foundation Solutions. And you can reach Expert Agents Realty anytime at 508-393-3383.
email mtoomy@yahoo.com. Couldn't quite get that out. You can always text me, 508-713-3243. So we'll see you on the other side of this break at the start of the third segment. Thank you very much.
Now, the Expert Agents Realty Hour continues on Full Service Radio, 830 WCRN. Once again, here's your host, Mark Toomey.
Hi, welcome back to the Expert Agents Realty Hour. I am your host, Mark Toomey. With us still is Craig Leader of Leader Foundation Solutions. Hi, Craig. Good. So if you want to call into the show, 508-871-7000. I want to thank, in the last segment, Matt Packett of Guaranteed Rate for calling in with the interest rate report. It was nice to see interest rates are now unbelievably below 3%, Craig. It's just crazy numbers.
I might have to make a phone call.
Yeah, well, you should call Matt.
I will.
That's awesome. So before we get talk about more specific foundation issues, I just wanted to cover a couple statistics on sales information for real estate in the region. And nothing is more boring than reading statistics on the radio, so I will be as brief and concise as I can. Craig, we hadn't talked about this, but inventory levels are at all-time lows, and everything sells the first weekend or within the first week it comes on the market. In February, inventory of homes available versus last year, I'm talking single-family homes, in Massachusetts was down 68%. And I like to say down 10% makes it a seller's market. In my career, close to 30 years, I'd never seen more than 18% year over year down, 68%. It's just insane. It's crazy. And so I have some interesting March numbers to talk about sales. And so in March, and this is really for all of Central Mass, Eastern Mass, including the Cape, okay, but not Western Mass, pending home sales up 27%. So think about that. Inventory down, incredible numbers. Pending home sales up 27%. Average price of a single family in March year over year up $70,000 at $485,000. These are just incredible numbers. And the other number that's just jumps out is nationally, the U.S. housing market is 3.8 million single-family homes short to meet demands of the country right now. That's the country is almost 4 million homes short. There's a lot of reasons for that: COVID, building prices. So it's a seller's market. So if you're out there thinking of selling, please give us a call. Office number 508-393-3383. Email is mtoomy@yahoo.com. You need expert advice. If you put your home on the market, it's going to sell right away. But the question is, how much money could you have gotten? And you don't want to leave money on the table. There are, if you're out there and you may or may not know this, homes that sell $50,000 to $150,000 over asking price, with buyers waiving appraisals and inspections and things like that. And what I would say is, you want professional advice. Me and my team, we've been in the business a long time, and we'd love to help you. So we can give you the proper advice so you can capitalize on this market. So, all right. So, Craig, let's talk about foundations again and some foundation issues. We were talking a little bit about fieldstone foundations, and it's nice to know that I, as a broker, or if you're a real estate broker out there, or a real estate agent, if you're selling an older home and there's some dampness down there, you can get a professional, and your clients can contact Craig's team. And they can come out and give them a real inspection of that basement, basically. Correct?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah. And so you really have a realtor program, right?
Yeah, we have a realtor program. If realtors call in and just let the office know who they are, the office that they're with, et cetera, generally, a realtor can call and we can get out to see a property for them within a really short period of time. Most of the time when a realtor calls, it's from a walkthrough, or sometimes it's prior to listing a home, but a lot of times it's that final closing walkthrough and there's a water issue and they need someone to come right away.
Once, pre-listing a home, there's plenty of time to figure out what's, we like to say in sales, what's the buyer's objections, what's going to come up. and we want to make sure we've addressed those things. If we think that there's signs of maybe pests or mice, we might want to get an exterminator out in advance to give it a professional opinion, maybe to arrange treatment. With basements, and we were talking in the last segment about Fieldstone Foundation basements in particular, it would be nice to have a professional come out and evaluate it and put a dollar sign on really what it's probably going to cost to correct that issue so we know what we're selling. And however, and usually there's enough time to do that, lots of times these things really come up after the home inspection, and there's only days before the buyer's not going to need to put down another $50,000 when sign a purchase and sale. And it's important to have a company like yours that's available, can get out there within short notice.
Correct. And, we understand that, especially in real estate transactions, that, it's necessary to get out right away. So, we leave some room in the schedule to be able to accommodate that.
And I would say for the folks out there, whether you're a buyer or seller, or if you're a fellow broker or agent in the industry, what's important is bringing the truth to light so that everybody can see and understand what's going on, and then level-headed people can make decisions on how to best deal with it. Every problem can really be solved, and getting expert opinion on what we're looking at is really, I think, the first step. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. So can we talk a little bit about just other types of things that you run into? And you piqued my interest with basically leveling homes or foundations.
Yeah.
Can you just walk the folks through if they have a house, it's got a regular foundation, it's a colonial, a split or a cape, maybe it's built in the 70s, and one corner of the house seems to be, if you drop a marble, it runs there 100 miles an hour. How do you deal with that?
Yeah, so that's probably the most common thing that we see is, a corner of the house, or sometimes one side of the house has dropped. And so our approach is to resolve these issues permanently. So for something like that, we have a process that we use, a piering system. We excavate around the house, we put steel piers underneath the foundation wall, and then we drive steel tube until we hit bedrock. Then we have a secondary system that we hook up to that allows us to actually lift the foundation back as far as the house will allow. And for us, the perfect scenario is someone's house that's dropped like that and has never been addressed or repaired. Those usually allow us to get them right back to within a half inch of where they were before they fell.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting process. So before we go on, I want to just cover this week's featured property. Every week I try to cover a featured listing with Expert Agents Realty. Maybe Craig wants to buy one of these. But this week I'm actually going to talk about two, what I would call less expensive homes in Worcester that we just put on the market. And I would say they're both affordable, so I wanted to bring them up because, like everything that's affordable in real estate, it sells quickly. Both of these, one's a house, one's a condo, will probably sell within a couple days. So in Worcester, up in the Burncoat neighborhood, at 148 Uncatina Ave, priced at $299,900. We have a 7-room, 3-bedroom ranch, 1 full bath, about 1,250 square feet. It's got forced hot air by oil, and it has central air. So if this house sounds interesting to you, please call the listing broker, member of our team at Expert Agents Realty, is Donna Duca at 508-579-8248. Again, Donna's cell number is 508-579-8248. If you have any interest in this single family, please give her a call. And then the other affordable home I'd like to just throw out there, because this will sell quick too, is a condo. 330 Sunderland Road. It's in the complex called Sunderland Woods. Its price is $209,900. It's 5 rooms, 2 beds, 2 full baths. It's got forced hot air, and it has central air, so it has a very affordable condo fee. Again, this will sell pretty quickly too. If you have any interest in this, another member of our team has listed it, Robert Toomey. If you recognize the name, he's my eldest son, and he's excellent. 508-667-3157. Again, Robert's phone number, 508-667-3157. If you have any interest in either one of those and you get a chance to see them, please reach out to them because they'll sell quick. So, all right, Craig, so that's my promotion part of the segment here.
Great.
What other types of foundation issues are you typically seeing out there?
So another thing that we see quite a bit of is concrete block foundations. Typically, they will have a horizontal crack through the wall where soil pressure has pushed the wall in. And we have a system that we can either stabilize the wall so it won't move anymore, or we can stabilize it and actually return it to right back straight up and flat. And again, that's a decision made by the homeowner whether they want us to do that or not.
So I ran into last year up in Sterling a property with a block foundation that the wall was pushing in, and they had a system that was basically applying pressure over time to move the wall back in place. Is that something that you've seen or dealt with before?
Yeah, I think we were the ones that did that job.
You think you were? Okay, good. That's interesting to know.
Yeah.
So we're at the end of the break now, unfortunately. This is the Expert Agents Realty Hour. We have one more segment left, and we'll get more details on that after the break. Thank you.
You're listening to the Expert Agents Realty Hour on Full Service Radio, 830 WCRN. Once again, here's your host, Mark Toomey.
Well, good morning. Welcome back to the final segment of the Expert Agents Realty Hour today. And I feel like today flew by. We're joined in studio by Craig Leader. Hi, Craig. How are you?
Good. How you doing, Mark?
Good. If you have any questions for Craig, 508-871-7000 is our call-in number. And I've been learning, I hadn't met Craig before, although he had been referred to me, and I've seen his work. And we were discussing, I was mentioning a property up in Sterling. Craig's company did the work a year and a half ago there, and it was pretty impressive. So as always, when I have guests on, I learn a lot. And I would say if you have any questions on foundations, and every situation is a little bit unique, you need a company with the experience to do that. And so, Craig, can you give folks your contact info, how they reach you?
Sure. Our website is leaderfsi.com, and you can reach us at 888-320-6363. And we have a fully staffed office who answer the phone and can set up appointments and get you information.
So I want to give the answer to this week's trivia question, which, Craig, by the way, seems to be a favorite of at least the people I know in the real estate world, because I usually get some crazy text messages with some wacky answers out there, which is pretty funny. But anyways, this week's trivia question. Most people are familiar with the term French drain to help solve some basement water issues. Why is it called a French drain? And I want to tell you, before I looked this up, I didn't know, and I've said French drain, thousands of times. So the answer, it was invented in the 1850s by a Concord, Massachusetts man. He was a farmer, he was an attorney, he was a number of other things, and his name was Henry French, thus the name French drain. He created the drainage concept, and he published a book about it in 1859. So that's why it's called the French drain. So, and if you tell that story, Craig, you can thank me for that, having that knowledge base.
I'll give you the credit.
So. This is the Expert Agents Realty Hour. My company, Expert Agents Realty, we have, I'm the owner, broker. We have two offices. We have one that services all of Metro West in Worcester County, and that's located at 88 Main Street in Northborough. It's right on Route 20, and Craig, it's a old mill building from the mid-1800s with the largest fieldstone foundation you've ever seen, because it had a big grinding wheel inside it. Someday, if you're at my office, I'll have to take you down there. Maybe you can help me solve some of my water issues there. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. And then we have an office that we service the folks in Western Mass and Northern Connecticut, and that's at 60 Shaker Road in East Longmeadow. And so Expert Agents Realty. All right, Craig, we were talking about foundation issues. What are some of the other things that you see out there?
Well, so one of the other services that we offer is called Polylevel. And so Polylevel is a expanding foam system that's structural that allows us to come in if you have a pool deck, a garage floor, a basement floor, a patio that's sinking, rather than having to rip it out and replace it. we can come in and inject this two-part foam material. It expands, it'll compact the soils, fill the voids, and then it'll lift the slab back into place. It's 100% cured in 15 minutes. You can drive on it.
Wow.
It gives you back the quality of living for a fraction of the price of replacement.
So I had not heard of that system. That's interesting. And again, something else I'm learning having experts on the show. Seems like something patios around pools, which you get a lot of ground settling around pools. Have you dealt with that?
Oh, we do probably 10 a week.
Wow.
So one of the biggest issue with pool decks is that people put them in too quickly. So most pool companies will tell you to wait a year or 2 years before you pour that patio. But of course, who wants to wait 2 years after they just spent all the money to put a pool in?
Right. Time is flying by, and no one's going to be happy that they can't use the pool or have to walk on little patio blocks. But basically, because the ground needs to settle.
Correct. Yeah. So if it doesn't settle and compact itself properly over time, it will settle off and erode. But we have that process, and that allows us to come in and take care of it.
So that's interesting. Now, when I get, say, called into a house, and I've sold hundreds and hundreds of homes, I think it's over 600 myself personally, as we're getting ready to maybe put a house on the market, sellers will say, look, here's some of the things that I'm concerned about. I want to properly disclose them to buyers, but I really don't know what this issue is. And maybe the most common thing in a basement is these vertical cracks, where you see some staining or phosphorus around the crack. What's your thought on that? What's the solution? How big a deal are those types of cracks typically?
So the typical crack is a shrinkage crack, and the deposit on the wall is called efflorescence, and it's usually just a lime calcium that's it comes through the wall, and it will materialize on the wall as the moisture cures on the inside of the wall. So some of them leak water, some of them don't. The most important thing for cracks in a foundation wall, vertical cracks, is you want to make sure that if they're wider at the top than they are on the bottom, that you check those out, because that's a sign of structural movement. If it's even all the way up and down, it's usually a shrinkage crack.
And so shrinkage crack, simply the concrete is poured, it's drying, and it's just simply shrinking. And typically, how long after it's been poured is someone going to see this? I mean, when can you say it's not going to happen anymore?
I'm not sure you can ever say it's not going to happen anymore, but a typical settling period for a poured concrete foundation is 4 to 6 years. So you can really expect to see certainly a crack within the first year. And the other thing is that you can't crack one side without cracking the other. So there's always a pair of cracks.
Okay, on the opposite side of the foundation, opposite
Normally.
side of the house.
Yep.
Okay, and so what's the typical solution to that? Say someone's either there is water coming through or there isn't, but the homeowner, before he goes on the market, wants to make sure that no buyer is concerned about that. What's the solution to that?
Yeah, so I mean, there's a bunch of different solutions, but we have a product called FlexiSpan that we come in, we adhere it to the wall. And so if any water were to come through, it gets redirected underneath the slab, and that resolves the issue from certainly holding up the sale of a house. All of our warranties are transferable to ownership, so whether it's something being done for the current owner or something being done for the potential buyer, that repair is covered.
Okay, and we only have a couple minutes left in this segment, and I want to make sure people know how to reach you. Could you give your contact information again?
Sure. Our website is leaderfsi.com, and our office number is 888-320-6363.
And Greg, you are in fact the voice that I've heard on the radio many times advertising your company, I think.
Yes, yeah, we advertise on a bunch of different venues.
Right. So All right. So I would say that if you're driving around and you're listening, as most people do with AM radio, and you're unable to write down Craig's information, you can clearly find him on the internet. You can always reach out to Expert Agents Realty, and we'll put you in touch with Craig. So Expert Agents Realty is 508-393-3383, 508-393-3383. I always answer the phone, or a member of my staff always answers the phone, unless I'm on the air like I am right now. So you can always email me at mtoomy@yahoo.com. So we're in an amazing time. Craig, interest rates back to 2.99, crazy, right? So
That's incredible.
It's really incredible. Inventory at all-time lows. If you have a property out there, Craig was mentioning to me, if you have a property, great time to sell, but if you need to buy, where do you go? That's why you need the advice of professionals, and I can certainly help you create a plan to help you capitalize on that. So this is the end of the Expert Agents Realty Hour. Craig, thank you for coming in.
Thanks for having me, Mark.
And I hope you come back some point in the future and join us. I'm sure I'll get some.
Do that.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll get some calls and emails about it. So, all right. So thank you very much. Hope you have a great Monday. The weather's beautiful out there. This is the Expert Agents Realty Hour. Thank you.
Awesome.
This has been the Expert Agents Realty Hour on Full Service Radio, 830 WCRN.